Welcome to the informational session about Fox Valley literacy. Today I just have put together a brief presentation going over what literacy needs are in the area, what Fox Valley literacy does, and how you can get involved with us. So to start off, we're going to talk about some literacy facts and figures. Literacy impacts quite literally every part of your daily life. I have a couple examples up on the screen. If people want to think of examples and put ideas in the chat, they are welcome to. It'll impact your ability to fill prescriptions. It'll impact your ability to fill out paperwork. It might impact your ability to get your driver's license. All of these are things that we consider literacy needs. So 1 in 7 Wisconsin adults are going to struggle with low literacy, which is a much higher number than we tend to think of it as we think of literacy needs as sort of this problem that we've left in the past, but it very much continues to still be with us. Nationally, there are more than 30 million adults in the United States who cannot read, write, or do basic math at above a 3rd grade level. So this is going to include folks who didn't finish school for whatever reason, who maybe had an undiagnosed learning disability, and it also includes people who are recent immigrants, refugees, asylum seekers, anyone who maybe is struggling not because they don't have the education, but because they don't speak English well. In Outagamie County alone, then we see that there are 12,000 adults who are struggling with these skills. So Fox Valley literacy covers, our service area is Outagamie, Wapaka, Northern Winnebago, and Northern Calumet counties. So we cover a very broad area, including a lot of the rural areas. This statistic is just for Outagamie County. Some more facts and figures. Literacy really impacts your ability to have a good income level. So an adult who has a high school equivalency degree will make $10,000 a year more than an adult who doesn't have one. So that difference in getting that high school equivalency degree can really help to lift your family's income level out and improve the outcomes, not just for yourself, but for then your entire family. And in fact, we see that a child whose parents have a low literacy level is 72% more likely to themselves then have a low literacy level. And this is because parents who have low literacy are going to struggle interacting with their child's school. Because they have a lower income level, that child may then have to take on a part-time job when they're in high school. Their education might suffer because of that. So it really is this generational problem. And when we provide literacy solutions, we are providing generational solutions. Another really good example of how it impacts your financial situation, a patient who has low health literacy. So health literacy is a little subset that work is done in. And if you have low health literacy, you're not able to access preventative care. You don't know how to look up accurate, legitimate health information. You will have, on average, 4 times the medical costs annually. So it's not just something that impacts your ability to make money, it then impacts how that money gets spent. So what does Fox Valley literacy do? We have 4 basic programs. I'm going to go over each of them. The first of our programs is Adult Basic Education. So in this, we have what is actually true adult basic education, that is grade 8 and below. And these are categories that we use for our programming. They are not judgmental labels. These are just a way that we can sort of conceive of what the needs we're seeing are. In addition, then we will also help people prepare for their GED and their HSED. The Fox Valley Technical College does also have programs for GED and HSED, but those programs are very fast-paced, and if a student is not already at a level where they can keep up with that, it can be really, really challenging. So they'll come to us for additional help. Our biggest program area is ELL, English Language Learning. We call it ELL as opposed to ESL, English as a Second Language, because a lot of students who come from different countries will already speak 2 or 3 languages. A lot of countries that's very common, but they maybe don't speak English well yet, or they already do speak English fairly well, but they still want to improve. So this is where we see the greatest numbers of our students. Included in this is also our pre-literacy level, which is going to be for people who are immigrants or recent refugees who did not learn to read or write in their native language. So they are illiterate in their native language, and now they have come to this new country where there may be a completely different alphabet system and they don't speak the language at all. How are they supposed to navigate? We help them with that. The next of our program areas is civics and citizenship. So we're not lawyers, we can't help people actually legally fill out and go through the citizenship process, but as part of the citizenship, as part of becoming a US citizen, you are required to answer correctly a certain number of questions regarding US values, laws, etc. And so we will help students study for those questions. Because again, if you're working at a low English level and you don't have this background, you haven't grown up in the United States, these can be extremely challenging questions. And finally, if it'll show up for me here, is project learning. Project learning is sort of a catch-all for everything else, but these are generally going to be shorter term projects that students want to work on. It might be the written driver's test. It could be a professional development opportunity. I know I've worked personally with one student who was up for a promotion, but she needed to be able to understand English a little bit better than she could over the phone in order to get that promotion. So we worked with her briefly in addition to other tutoring that she was doing in order to prepare for that particular promotion. And that little anecdote there highlights something that I want to be very clear about with these program areas. People will move back and forth between different program areas. Someone might come to us initially for English language learning, and then once they've achieved a certain level of English skill, they might then go on to get their GED with us. So oftentimes tutors will start out doing one thing and sort of grow with their students, and most of our tutors find that very, very rewarding. So, who are our tutors? Our tutors are passionate literacy advocates. You will receive initial training and then ongoing support from staff. I'll get back to that in a second. But the most important thing is that you don't need a teaching background and you don't need to speak a foreign language. That's a really common misconception people have. They think, I've never taught before, how can I do that? We will give you the training, we will give you the materials that you need. Some of our tutors include current and retired teachers, people who have retired from other professional careers, people who are currently in the middle of their careers. It's only about a 1 hour a week commitment, so it does work to fit in around a busy schedule, especially since a lot of times our students are also fitting this in around a busy schedule. And finally, students, both from Lawrence University and from the Tech, as well as sometimes one of our students will go on to then tutor other students. If a student is really strong in reading and writing, for example, but struggles in math, they might be getting tutored for math and at the same time tutoring other people in reading and writing. We do not have high school students as tutors just because you have to be 18 in order to volunteer with us as a tutor. We do have office volunteer opportunities for people who are under 18. Okay, so that's great, but what exactly does tutoring look like? The very first thing is that tutors are going to complete our tutor training. Our tutor training is a 2-part training. Each part is 1.5 hours long, usually held on back-to-back days, sometimes 2 days in a week. And in this training, we talk about pedagogy styles, which means how to teach. We talk about cultural competency, how to interact with students that are from vastly different cultural backgrounds than you might be. And we really work to prepare you to go into that first meeting with your student feeling very confident about your abilities as a tutor. So like I mentioned, it is usually about a 1 hour a week commitment. The tutors and the students will meet, generally speaking, once a week. For most people, that is a 1 hour time slot that they have that they make at the same time every week. Some tutors and students do choose to meet for longer than that if it is what is needed by the student, and if the tutor can fit that in their schedule. Sometimes students and tutors will choose to sort of change their meeting time each week if they have schedules that are really variable, but all of that will be decided when you are matched with your student, and it will be a mutual decision. We're not going to match you with someone who you have to change your schedule for every week if that's not something you're capable of doing. So our tutors, then, we ask you to design lessons that include real-world materials, which are based on the learner's needs and interests. Adult students have very different needs than, say, a high school age student. You don't need to know what characterization is, for example, but you do need to know how to go speak to your doctor and get that prescription refilled. We will help you with designing the lessons. We have lesson plans that are ready-made that we can just hand to you as a tutor, and we also will give you any books or materials that you require, and all of that is free. We do not charge for the first set of books, and after that we ask for students, but not tutors, to pay at cost for those materials. And like I said, staff will provide this initial training, and then we provide ongoing support and education. So in addition to helping you with lesson planning, we also provide case management. So if an issue comes up with your student, they're really, really struggling and you don't know how to get through to them, staff is there to help talk you through that and help you figure out how you can adjust. If your student is undergoing a personal crisis and they're reaching out for you to help and you don't know how to help, staff can, and we will help you through that. And the final part of this is that we do also offer continuing education opportunities for tutors throughout the year, ways for you to learn more about specific tutoring skills, to learn more about US immigration policies. We have some book clubs that run every couple months. We have a lot of different ways for you to interact with the rest of the tutors in the Fox Valley literacy community, and to make sure that you really feel supported in the tutoring process.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
So if I'm a tutor, is there a set length of the program, or is it just you get to continue to work with that that learner until maybe there's not a need, or the need changes, or how does that kind of work?
Great question. So in general, people are going to, there isn't a set end date. Students and tutors will meet for however long they want to keep meeting for. So some of our students and tutors have been meeting for years. Generally, when that happens, it gets to a point where the student and the tutor are pretty close friends and they want to keep meeting. And then sometimes we have students who will be with us for a year and then decide to move on. If you're not able to make that long-term commitment, or you're really worried about making that long-term commitment, we will probably match you with a student that we think is going to be shorter term. And the other part of it is that we do have tutors leave the program, and then we rematch those students with new tutors. So if at any point you had been tutoring with us for a year and you're like, you know, I just can't fit this in my schedule anymore. I just got a new job. My daughter just had a baby. I need to spend my time elsewhere. We will understand that, and we will work to get your student working with a new tutor then. So the last thing I have is just next steps. Join us for our 2-part tutor training. I have a link which I will add to the chat as soon as I'm done presenting. The next tutor training is going to be on November 24th at 9 a.m. from 9 to 10:30 a.m. and then the following day, November 25th, 9 to 10:30 a.m. That is a Tuesday and a Wednesday, I believe. So I will have a link that I will drop in the chat in just a moment that will let you register in advance for that. It is through Zoom. Just like this, it will be very straightforward, although probably a little bit more interactive than this has been. And that will be with my coworker, Heather, who manages all of our programming. After you attend that training, that is when we will match you with that student. And again, lots of support. That first match meeting will happen with a staff member present to help you get to know each other and to go over expectations for tutoring going forward.
Is the link something that you sent me for the one-stop shop?
It is not, because I don't think I had the link ready at that
okay.
point.
Is that something that you'd be okay if I put up there?
Yeah, let me just grab it and drop it in the chat right now.
Perfect. So for those of you that are watching the recorded version of this, or if you're watching live, I will take this link for the registration for the tutor training, and I'll put it in the one-stop shop as well for you to have access to it there.
I will get to that question in just one second. To register for this tutor training, this link is only good for the 24th and the 25th. After that, there will be a different link. For that, you can always visit fvlc.net and find our tutor training section, and I will have the link up there as well.
Excellent.
So Christy asked, please explain how this will work virtually. The answer to that is that most of our tutors and students are currently meeting in some form online. A lot of our students and tutors are choosing to meet over Zoom and maybe email homework back and forth or use the whiteboard feature in Zoom. Some of our students don't have access to the internet, and for those students, they are meeting by phone. Our office is currently closed, so we really are encouraging people to find ways to meet virtually. And again, that is something that staff can help you with. I am no longer meeting with a student personally, but I was for the first 6 months or so of the pandemic. And what I did was we had our session every Tuesday evening on Zoom. I would assign a small homework assignment at the end of that Zoom session, which I would email to her. She would email it back to me before the next session, and then we would go over it together in the Zoom session. We found that for a lot of our students and tutors, it has transitioned to Zoom really, really well, especially for our students who have young children and were having to find childcare previously. Now they can just be at home. Mm-hmm. And for the students that don't have internet, it is a little bit more tricky meeting over the phone, but we have a lot of tutors that have been pretty successful at that. And if you were really struggling with that, for example, again, we could put you in touch either with a staff member who could help you or with another tutor who is successfully tutoring that way.
That's great that you're able to kind of make that adjustment and still be able to serve in the way that you guys do. That's fantastic.
It was an adjustment that I think we all felt was very important to make in March when we first closed our office. You know, the needs for our services don't go away just because there's a pandemic, and in fact are usually exacerbated by the pandemic. People who are now losing their jobs and having to find new jobs with low income, with low literacy and low English levels. We also do a lot of work connecting students and tutors to community resources. So if a student or tutor is struggling with food insecurity, for example, we work really hard to connect those folks with the resources they need.
And I think the good thing, I know a lot of people that have been watching, especially the recordings of these Zoom sessions, have really just kind of been information gathering. So when COVID's over, you know, they know and they're ready to go. They know where they want to jump in. So the fact that, you know, this tutoring is there and is always needed now or post-COVID, this is a great opportunity if it sounds like a good fit for you to do.
Absolutely.
So one more time, would you hit us with your contact information? For
Sure.
anybody that wants more information that we didn't get through tonight, or to sign up or learn more or something like that?
Absolutely. So anybody can always check our website, fvlc.net. That will have somewhere on there, there will be links to the most recent upcoming trainings. And we also have some links up for various resources people can use if they are looking to learn English and are not matched with a tutor through us. We do have some online resources there as well. You can also find us on Facebook at Fox Valley Literacy. That is updated almost every day, so follow that for the most recent updates and news about upcoming trainings and other events that we have. And you can also reach out to me directly at B as in boy, Smith, SMITH, at fblc.net. I'm the volunteer recruitment specialist, so if you're interested in getting involved, I am the person to talk to.
Excellent. So for anybody watching live or who's called in over the phone, we'll give you a second too if you have a question. I see one just popped up in the chat there. If you, how many volunteers are you looking for right now?
I don't know that answer off the top of my head. We do always have a waiting list for students, but I don't know right now how long that waiting list is. I can tell you that in a year, last year we served 400 students with the help of about 200 tutors. So you can see that disparity there. There's always going to be just a higher need for what we do than the number of tutors that we have available.
Yeah,
And
you
also,
mentioned, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say that currently part of the way we're getting through our waiting list is by having some of our very long time, very dedicated tutors take on multiple students. That is not something we ask of everybody. These are a few folks that have been with us for a very long time who have volunteered to do that. But that does put a burden on some people more than others. So we're always looking for volunteers.
I was going to say, you just answered my question. If someone signs up to tutor, loves it, and has a little extra time, would you be able to discuss taking on a second learner? So thank you for answering that. That's great. With that, thank you guys so much for the work that you do. We are so grateful to have you in our community and to really just fill the need. Because like you said earlier, that need is ever present, sometimes growing, but never non-existent. And because you guys are here, thank you. We really appreciate that. Hopefully those who are watching heard something that stuck out to them, that hit a chord, and you go ahead and reach out for more information or to sign up for a tutor training. And on behalf of Volunteer Fox Cities, thank you for attending VolunteerFest 2020. I wish we could be in person, but I'm glad that we do have the technology that we can still get this great information and find some volunteer fits that will work for us and fill us as well. I encourage you to check the VolunteerFest schedule for the rest of the evening as well as tomorrow, and the one-stop shop to see all the information that we just heard from Fox Valley Literacy, plus the other organizations that are participating. And we hope to see you for another session in the near future. Thank you.